Crypto privacy is fading fast. As global tax authorities are moving in, the old havens are joining the system. And if you're still looking at Switzerland or Portugal, you're already behind. The real opportunity lies in lesser known countries not joining the OECD's crypto surveillance network. Hi, I'm Jeremy from the Millionaire Migrant. I help entrepreneurs and investors from all around the world avoid all the costly mistakes that I made when I left my home country. So 20 years ago, I left the UK, traveled around the world, invested in multiple places, started a business, now multiple businesses. But from all of this, I bring all my network and my team together to be able to give you the education to find ultimate financial freedom. The OECD's crypto asset reporting framework, CARF, is set to bring an end to all the anonymity that crypto investors once enjoyed. Because from 2027 onwards, in over 50 jurisdictions, some of which have been very popular with a lot of crypto people, is that essentially that they are going to have to declare everything that you have invested in those countries. So what this means is that there will be transparency and there will be taxable events which you won't be able to work around. So what you might want to start doing is start thinking about those other countries that are out there. Popular countries like UAE, Switzerland, Portugal, and Malta are all going to start beginning an automatic exchange of information related to crypto assets. For people really into their privacy and don't like this kind of invasion of their privacy, this video is going to explain a select group of non-CARF countries which you can look at if you want to decide to relocate and take advantage of these opportunities. Let me explain how crypto taxes work in most countries. You've got a taxable event, which is a capital gains tax, for example, or an income tax, but let's say capital gains tax, CGT. If you sell or trade crypto and you make a profit, then you've got to pay your capital gains tax. How high that tax is depends on how long you've held the cryptocurrencies or how much gain you've made or how much gain you've made in the context of all the other gains you've made in non-crypto asset classes. And if this period was less than a year, you often have to pay more tax than on the long-term gains. The other way that you can get taxed in a taxable event, and by the way, I'm not a tax advisor. This is information that is readily available. You can educate yourselves on it, but we do work with high-level tax advisors all around the world. Another tax is income tax. So income tax is coming, let's say, for example, if you're mining or staking, then essentially these are actions that take place over an extended period of time. Therefore, it's income tax, and these rates would depend on your individual tax bracket. So again, I'm not a tax advisor. We work with tax advisors. This is information readily available online. How do you benefit from this? Well, in theory, if you hold the crypto in a non-CARF country, this will give you some level of privacy. However, many jurisdictions require self-reporting of foreign assets, and crypto regulations are increasingly demanding proof of your tax residency in that jurisdiction. Tax residency is the name of the game. I'm sure you're all aware of it. So the bottom line is to truly benefit from non-CARF status and avoid crypto reporting, you'll likely need to establish a legal residency or tax residency in that jurisdiction. So you'll hear a lot of YouTubers saying, oh, I can get you a passport from a non-CARF country. Everybody knows passports are not the way that you can solve tax. Tax residency is going to be the way that you can work legally around tax. Passport is not going to, it's part of the overall equation, but it is not the one that is going to fix it. And I know this because I've been processing second passports for 15 years in excess of 11,000 passports legally. Does relocating make sense for tax purposes? If you're from a high tax country, then of course it makes perfect sense, right? And that country, especially if there's a country that taxes you on worldwide income, yes, definitely you would just want to relocate. I met a guy from Canada who's OTC and doing a lot of crypto in that space, and he had different parts of the world, but he was still living in Canada. So I didn't really understand why he was still there. He was a young guy, so maybe taxable is not too bad for him, but essentially he's on his way moving overseas as we speak. So you decide to relocate. So you leave that country, but you also cut your tax residency ties in that country. That's very important. You establish a new tax residency in the new country, the non-CARF country. What you need to understand is that the crypto capital gains tax that you will make is going to be a taxable event, but unless you're in that new country, then it won't become a taxable event because obviously it's non-CARF. So, but this is very important that you do these next steps because otherwise, if you get it wrong, you're going to have a major headache. And this is the main thing that we advise our clients to do is try and put everything together with a plan and execute that plan in different steps so that you can have a smooth and expeditious solution to the challenges that you're facing right now, which is tax. It's all coming for everyone. Some people say tax is theft. I think we should all pay a little bit of tax because otherwise it's not much use living in a castle surrounded by rubbish. But I think some countries right now are kind of abusing the system because of their own previous mistakes. The next thing you need to understand is how territorial tax systems treat crypto. Now, you're probably going to go to a territorial tax jurisdiction. Those are the best. Those are countries that have a system that only tax you on the money you make in that country, not on the money you make outside the country. So if you see what's happening in the UK, they cancelled the non-dom. So now loads of people are leaving because they're like, I already pay tax in that country where I make the money. I don't want to pay it again where I live here, and definitely not at that rate. But essentially, territorial tax means you won't get taxed on that country as long as that money is not being brought into that country or not generated in that country. So if you keep it overseas in an offshore exchange and it's not cashed out locally, then it won't be a taxable event. So you're talking about countries like Panama, Paraguay, Philippines, all begin with a P, but essentially they don't tax you on your capital gains if the gains are not realized locally and if the income is not derived from a business that is operating locally, domestically, for example. Those are three very popular countries, and I've been talking a lot about Paraguay. Panama is very nice. I know a lot of people there and they love Panama, but Paraguay is something that is really up and coming. I see a lot of interesting bits of information there that is coming out. And Philippines is something that people don't really talk enough about, honestly speaking. Now, if you're a professional crypto trader, you might also be taxed in territorial regimes. I would caveat that. And if you want to get more information about it, it's best that you speak to our tax lead. She'll be able to guide you further on that one. But here's a few countries to watch in terms of former havens that you probably are right now if you're in that space. Unfortunately, those are ones that are going to be joining CARF in the next few years. The first is where I'm from, well, not from, but where I spend all my time mainly, is the UAE. It's going to be joining the CARF in 2028 and previously didn't have any crypto reporting. So that is bad news for a lot of people. It's still very crypto friendly in the ecosystem, but unfortunately that's down. Switzerland was another one. Also, 2027 is when that's going to end. It was very popular. Portugal, where I'm also a resident, again, another one was very attractive, but again, that's no longer going to be the case. But 2027, Malta, very well known as well. That's another jurisdiction. So all the favorites now are all going to be caught up in this net, and they're all joining by 2027. Those are the countries that are now going to be a part of CARF. I mean, you've still got a couple of years, so it's fine. But now where are the countries you're going to move to if you want to be able to take advantage from getting out of the CARF net, so to speak? So there's a few. They're all going to go up on the screen, but I'll just read them here. I'm not going to list them all. First off is Cambodia. Cambodia is something that is a very interesting one because essentially crypto is neither officially recognized nor explicitly prohibited. So there's a bit of a gray area there. But there we're going to show all the how it all works out for crypto in Cambodia. You've also got Paraguay, which I mentioned is very interesting. It's not just about crypto. It is actually quite interesting. It's actually got a lot of potential or existing potential in terms of mining. It's very attractive for mining because you have a lot of hydroelectric power. So I know a lot of guys down there who are down there mining. So that also has got a bit of an ecosystem. And I'm someone that is a little bit curious about Paraguay because I see a lot of fundamental parallels between Paraguay and the growth story of the UAE. So if you want to always looking for the next UAE or Singapore, people talk about it a lot. I'd say Paraguay kind of ticks that box a little bit. Whether that potential will be realized remains to be seen, but I think it's something that just take a little bit of exposure. This is my tip, and then you can worry about it later. Next up, you've got Dominican Republic, Guatemala. Those are two countries which are a little bit off the beaten track. I don't know about Guatemala in terms of, it may be great for you crypto-wise, whether you want to live there with everything that's going on, I'm not too sure. Dominican Republic, that one's always been quite attractive. So not a huge amount of people go there. They complain that the cost of living is very elevated, given the fact that it is Dominican Republic. You've got Philippines and Panama as well. As I mentioned, pretty good. Panama is, if you like something urban, I would say out of all of these places, because remember, this is not just about investing. It's not about crypto privacy. It's and tax benefits. It's also whether you want to be there. And if you're someone that wants to be off the beaten track, well, I've already mentioned a few places, but I would say if you want to be in more of an urban metropolis, Panama is the place for you. That's probably as close you can get to the UAE or Singapore. Otherwise, you've got Vietnam, Serbia, and El Salvador. Serbia is interesting because there is also the citizenship by exception opportunity there, which is there. It's something that is a very interesting market, should we say, seeing as I come from a citizenship by investment background, which is the legal process. By the way, there is also, I didn't mention, but Cambodia does have the citizenship option down there, although I've yet to meet anyone who's actually done it. That concerns me a lot. If I ever do anything, I'll do it myself first, using all the experience I have of 15 years processing 11,000 passports before I even mention it to anybody else. We do know Paraguay has the option, but it's not really a straightforward option. You've got Panama now that the new government is in place, is a little bit more favorable in giving it to those of you who have legally done your residency there and passed the language test, of course. And then you've got El Salvador talking about passports. Everybody knows it's $1 million. It's very simple, straightforward. I would say it's probably a citizenship by exception program because there isn't any clear legislation that you can do it through investment, even though it is an investment. But I think there are some very smart crypto people who've gone down there and said, hold on a minute, we can make this thing work. El Salvador, though, at $1 million for a passport, I'm not too sure. If Malta comes out the other side of this court case with the European Court of Justice, we'll see how that plays out. El Salvador could be an option. I think it's just from my background, knowing the process and documentation and steps that are involved and investigations and due diligence that are involved to make sure that a program lasts for a long time and nobody has any problems. El Salvador doesn't have any of that. And I think that's great for some people, but you can't be naive enough to think that it doesn't attract the wrong type of people. When the wrong type of people come in, that affects you by association, which affects fiat banks and other parts of the world. And so this is something that people don't really think through. I know this because I've been doing this for a very long time. But essentially, El Salvador is probably, no surprise, the most crypto-friendly of all of these, and it has been for a long time. And the country, by the way, has done very well out of it. I was there a few months ago, and definitely a lot of that business has worked for them as well. The problem is when crypto goes down, it has a outsized exposure to crypto, and therefore what happens is that if the real estate market, because not everyone who has crypto puts all their money in crypto, they also rent, buy, relocate, move to El Salvador, and when the price goes down, it affects the local market, so that it's got an outsized impact on El Salvador in terms of real estate. So that's something that I noticed was quite interesting to see. That's all of the information regarding the new CARF legislation, which has got a lot of people worked up. This is the clarification, and this is an actual video to show you, okay, fine, this is what's happening. I've got a couple of years, so not too much of a rush. But as I keep telling everyone, don't leave things to the last minute. Time and time again, people leave things to the last minute and they forget that either that option will be closed and you'll miss, it'll be more expensive, or it will be more complicated, or you're just going to go in with everybody else and you're going to get stuck in the rush, and then it's going to take much longer because everybody did it at the last minute, just like you. So please, don't leave it to the last minute. It's better to be a day early than a year too late. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the other side.